let's move on to the Your Sports Talk, man. So,
You're gonna Jeffrey Dahmer him. Like, we're just gonna watch a couple Sweet 16 games and then you can go.
come on, man. I like this movie. God. Yeah, that was a good show. But moving on, let's talk a little bit. We're just going to end up talking about the Bengals because we got a bunch of off-season shit that's happening. I can't necessarily remember because we were going to talk about it a little bit last week, but I can't remember if we talked about it or not. Some of the signings that we had. We got Nick Scott, and I don't know if we talked about Orlando coming in either.
We did.
We didn't talk about either of them. So yeah,
No.
I mean that what you were just talking about pertains because we were thinking about he might come Moreau or whatever would come here, but now he's not even playing the game anymore. So I mean, what are you guys thinking about some of the moves that we've made, Wallet?
I mean, obviously, grabbing that offensive lineman, Orlando, my boy, from Kansas City. I mean, he wants to win a championship. The guy has been an offensive lineman for Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, and now Joseph Burrow. I mean, that's just a fantastic.
Our good friend Joe.
Our good friend Joe.
Yeah. Friend of the podcast. You guys should endorse the podcast.
Joseph Lee. I mean, that's a fantastic pick. I mean, Nick Scott, apparently he's a hitter. Like he
big boy.
Hits.
I was looking at some of his physical stats and fucking that's a big ass safety.
Did you watch his press conference though when he signed with the Bengals? Very, very, very intelligent guy. It talks very well. I mean, like high character type guy, and that to me,
loves
I love
Lou.
seeing. Yeah, I love seeing that because that's going to fit.
Loves Lou.
That's going to fit so well in our locker room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I liked seeing that. Same thing with Orlando. Like, that was just a fantastic press conference. Like, I like that high character because that's just going to add to that core. It's going to grow that core, and it's just going to make them even that much better, in my opinion. I would like them to see them add a veteran running back, or at least figure out what they're going to do with Mixon. Like, I'd like to see that.
Same.
Because they can get a tight end early, or maybe even like the second or third round. They can still get a really good tight end.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that they should use a draft pick on a running back if they can get a good veteran and maybe even restructure Mixon's contract to the point where they've got a good veteran and a Joe Mixon. I think that's money in my opinion.
Well, losing P. Ryan was kind of big. I know a lot of people wanted him to be, and a lot of people wanted him to stay over Mixon, but now that's not going to happen. He went to Denver. I don't think it's a huge deal. I know a lot of people are freaking out about P. Ryan and Hurst because, he's fan favorites and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think those were losable guys that we need to spend the amount of money that they went to Denver and, what was it, Saints? Or Carolina. Yeah, I don't think we need to spend that type of money. Yeah. When it comes down to it, we have three possessions that kind of like our need to fill right now, which is another running back, a tight end, and then another safety. And I'm sure that the safety is going to get handled here sometime soon. A couple guys have got lost. There's still some really good guys for the running back position, but I agree with you, Wallet. I think we need to go out and get a free agent at the running back position. If we get a tight end in the draft, there's a bunch of good tight ends. It's a loaded year. If we could get Mayer, that's the guy that I want. Washington's a real good blocker, whatever. The point is, Burrow is going to put the ball in the hands of a tight end.
Yeah,
if you have a running back in the backfield, they have to learn the system on their own. They're not.
Hey, I got to jump off here and take a call real quick. I'll be back on. Hold on a second.
Okay, that's completely fine. We're just going to keep on going. So,
well, that's just to keep it going. Like, that's kind of exactly what I was talking about with in the group chat the other day, where I was like, we're just going to have to get used to the fact that tight ends in Cincinnati aren't going to stick around.
Yeah.
Because what Joe Burrow is going to do is he's going to take a bunch of Hayden Hursts, CJ Uzamas, and plug in
whoever the
X,
fuck next
Y, and
get.
Z.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's going to go get a 3-year contract. He's going to go get a 4-year contract. And it's one of those things where they don't need Travis Kelce. If you find a guy that just happens to turn out to be him in the 4th round, then whatever.
Yeah.
But like at this point, the Bengals are in a good position to where I would almost say, like, this is kind of what I prefer at this point. I think our hole at right tackle is bigger than our hole at running back.
Yeah.
We really like more than anything. We need Mixon restructured, and we need his contract to be less of a cap hit for us.
Yeah.
Right tackle is one of those things I've said it on the podcast before. Like, I would like them to go out and buy those kind of guys. Yeah. And you don't need a stud right tackle. You just need somebody who's a little bit better than what Jonah Williams was.
Right.
And, it's one of those things where I would almost rather take a second or third round running back and address whatever the best available player is at safety or tight end. Whichever one you like better, take him in the first round.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
your skill player in the first round.
Well, I think that would be a tight end for us. I think that safety's another one that we kind of need to go out and get free agency.
Safety's deep.
And yeah, and that's why I would want them to go for someone in free agency, and then also like maybe the third round after you get a running back, tight end, whatever you is. Jonah Williams might get us 2, 3 third round picks. We don't know what's going to do, but that's the guy. That's the guy. We have Dax Hill, and people are talking about him coming in safety and fucking playing that other position next to Nick Scott. That's cool. I've heard some good things about him. I don't know if he's necessarily tested enough to do that, but we need to get some more depth there. So when it comes down to it, I'd want to get, that third round, get a safety who can work under the system with our guys, and then, develop into the starter once we have to get rid of whoever we have there now. So that the safety and tackle are definitely two that I'd want to go out in free agency. I think that we can deal with Mixon at running back for another year until his thing. We might have to restructure. I don't think having one of our backups or drafting a guy is all that bad of an idea, but I think tight end needs to be our first priority in the draft. For sure.
I would agree with that. I actually, Spill, I hate to say this, I got to hop off here and get a contractor over this guy. So, love you guys. Stolzy, alpha him real quick, okay?
Okay.
See ya.
All right. Well, while it's out of here, you got a couple words in there about the Bengals, and we talked about our thing, so it's okay. It is what it is. He had to leave, but yeah. I don't know if we need to talk about it all too much. We kind of got everything that we needed out there for the Bengals. Unless you got anything else to add.
We can toot our own horn just for a second about how we straight up said, like, the Bengals don't go out and sign anybody in the first couple of days of free agency. They wait and see how the market looks and everything like that. And turns out that they got a guy at an absolute steal when you look at what the Chiefs paid for Jones, or whatever. I think it's Jones is his last name. And he's a right tackle. He's going to end up. They're hoping that he holds it down at left tackle. There's no guarantee that he's even a left tackle.
Right.
So it's the Bengals are in a good spot. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
They draft what they need to draft this year very well historically. I mean, our last 2 tight ends that we drafted were CJ Uzomah and Tyler Eifert.
Right. Yeah, and
and Jermaine Gresham before that.
About the right tackle thing too, with Jonah Williams getting traded, there's a possibility that we don't get traded for fucking pick, and we end up getting one of the positions that we need in that somehow. Some team that doesn't need the position or something like that. But
right.
I think that we have a little bit of leverage because teams want to come and play for the Bengals right now.
Or Jonah decides to stay, or nobody wants to trade for Jonah, and he ends up staying. And let's face it, he's not sitting for $12 million.
No.
He's gonna play,
and I don't think
he's gonna play right tackle.
He requested a trade. He didn't fucking ask for a trade.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if he asked for it and really doesn't want to be here, you got to get rid of him. But I think that he'd be okay, comfortable staying in that position. So
he's not demanding.
No, he's not demanding. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. So, yeah. And, with us waiting and taking our time and seeing the moves that we have now, I kind of like that. I think that we're kind of playing the market a little bit. We had, Jamal Williams, who was coming in the running back. He was trying to hold out for money, ended up getting a shit contract and going to the Saints. And it's like, well, that guy obviously didn't want to come here as much as some other guys might want to be. And I'd rather have a guy who really wants to be here and build a core, build into the fucking system, rather than some guy who's just trying to chase a bag. And I've been saying it all fucking week. I've been saying it for weeks now.
I literally just thought about this to where our division is probably very, very hard to lure running backs.
Yeah. Because the defense is
in the grand scheme. Exactly, dude. When you think about it, when you look at Jamal Williams, if his final 2 things came down to New Orleans and the Bengals, where it's AFC North versus NFC South, I mean, I'm going to go play in domes down south against...
Right, rather than play those fucking hard-nosed defenses and in the fucking
December.
cold. Yeah.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's not that hard of a decision, really.
Yeah.
So, just now thinking about that, I'm like, that's kind of the light bulb going off where it's it is probably hard for us to lure a free agent running back to where that's why we draft them so often.
Yeah.
Well, not so often, but when we We draft them when we need a new one.
Right now, I don't know what's holding us up at that running back position, but I'm liking Eckler. I think what's the dude from Kansas City? He's on free agency right now too, isn't he?
Pacheco got picked up today by the Jets.
Oh, he got picked up. Okay, the Jets.
I believe it. I think it was the Jets.
The Jets. I did look that up real quick because fucking if the Jets landed him too, this is about to be a fucking crazy ass Jets team.
Well, I know the Browns just landed a bunch of people too.
Yeah, but
no, Jets got Browns got Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Pacheco's going to the Jets.
Jets.
1 year, 6.5 million. And the Elijah Moore contract is also the same kind of setup where it's a 1 year contract, and which is perfect for him to play for two teams this year. Just saying, if the Browns aren't in the playoff picture,
right? Yeah,
Bengals want a little bit of depth.
Yeah, so at that point, I think Eckler's trying to get a little bit more money or whatever, but that's one of the dudes left in it that I'd really like to take. So. I've heard rumors from people that he was actually with Joe Burrow down at the precinct, the fucking place downtown or whatever. You know, when you live in the city, fucking you start hearing some shit. That was last Tuesday though, I think that he was down there. So obviously some shit's either in the working or it didn't actually happen. It was just a rumor.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to see what that insider information we got about contracts pans out to look like.
Right. Right, yeah. We'll just see what that is. Let the Bengals do their thing, fucking. But it's if all the information that we have is correct, then fucking the Bengals are looking good. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got any closing comments before we kick this one off?
Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player to ever walk the face of the earth. 96% of 126 million is more than 600,000. That's about all I got.
Okay. Apparently, we're gonna have to get into some baseball arguments here, but fucking not tonight. We're gonna save that until everything's happening. Keep a lookout on, we're going to get one more March Madness stream in, and then after that, things are going to slow down significantly for the sports thing, for the sports podcast. We will still have NBA playoffs, which I know both of us are decently interested in. It's just one of those things where the weather starts getting warmer. It's a little bit harder to start like latching on to sports that you really don't care about. Also, kind of want to
playing softball.
Yeah.
It's just busier.
Yeah. Also, want to get into some XFL and USFL a little bit. We'll see what we got with the sports podcast, but
Yeah, I mean, Cam Newton's looking like he's going straight to the XFL after his Auburn Pro Day. So,
did he do terrible? Because I saw that he was playing.
Dude, there was one clip where he missed this wide open dude by like
30 feet.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, I don't.
Literally, the caption was straight to the XFL for Cam Newton.
Dude, I saw him coming back. He's like, I got to be better than fucking the 32 guys that are in the league right
32
now.
motherfuckers better than me.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that.
I trust Bryce Petty coming off a
Purdy.
I trust Purdy coming off a UCL injury more than you. I watched you not dive on a fumble in the Super Bowl, bro. Get fucked.
Yeah, you're washed, bro. Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, we'll see what we got with the sports podcast coming back. Expect another one next week with the fucking NCAA tournament wrapping up, going into the Final Four and stuff like that. With that being said, this has been episode 10 of Your House, Our Rules, the sports podcast. Peace!